In ancient Rome, Tyrian purple was more valuable than gold, a color reserved for emperors and the elite. This wasn't just a fashion statement, it was a symbol of absolute power, wealth, and divine right. To see someone draped in this deep, regal hue was to witness a living embodiment of authority and privilege. The sight of purple commanded respect, awe, and sometimes even fear. The secret behind this legendary color lay in the unlikeliest of places, the tiny sea snail, Murex. Extracting just a single gram of dye required thousands of these creatures, painstakingly gathered from the Mediterranean's rocky shores. The process was laborious and time-consuming, with workers crushing the snails and fermenting their glands to produce the precious purple liquid. The result was a dye so rare and costly that it became a currency of status in itself. Only the most powerful could wear it, a law strictly enforced to maintain social order. Roman sumptuary laws dictated who could display even a hint of purple, and breaking these rules could mean severe punishment. The color became a visual language, instantly communicating a person's place in the social hierarchy. Clothing in Rome was a statement of status, from a slave's simple tunic to a senator's purple-striped toga. Every thread, every color, every fold of fabric told a story about its wearer, who they were, what they had achieved, and how much power they held. The purple stripe, or laticlave, on a senator's toga was a badge of office, instantly recognizable in the crowded streets of Rome. The process of making Tyrian purple was a closely guarded secret, involving complex chemistry and foul smells. Artisans worked in hidden workshops, their hands stained and their clothes permeated by the pungent aroma of the dye. The knowledge was passed down through generations, fiercely protected to maintain the dye's exclusivity and value. Owning a purple-trimmed garment was like owning a private jet today, the ultimate luxury. It was a visible sign of immense wealth and influence, a privilege enjoyed by only a select few. For most Romans, even a glimpse of such finery was a reminder of the vast gulf between the classes. This single color connected fishermen, artisans, and senators across the empire. From the humble laborers who harvested the snails, to the skilled dyers who transformed them, to the powerful elite who wore the finished garments, Tyrian purple was a thread that wove together every level of Roman society. As we explore Rome's story, remember this purple thread, a symbol of extremes, luxury and poverty, power and struggle. It reminds us that history is not just about emperors and conquests, but also about the everyday people whose labor and ingenuity made such wonders possible. Rome's legacy is not just emperors and armies, but also the artisans, merchants, and even the snails that colored its history. The story of Tyrian purple is a story of connection between nature and culture, between the powerful and the powerless, between the past and the present. Let's unravel how a small city-state grew to dominate the world and shape our own, and how even the smallest things, like a drop of purple dye, can leave a mark on history that endures for centuries. Rome's story begins not with emperors or grand monuments, but with a cluster of humble villages perched on 7 hills by the winding Tiber River. These early settlements, shrouded in myth and legend, were little more than wooden huts and simple farms, surrounded by dense forests and wild countryside. Yet from these modest origins a civilization would rise that would shape the course of history. Its people were farmers and shepherds, living off the land and tending their flocks. Life was hard, and survival depended on the rhythms of nature and the strength of the community. All around them, powerful neighbors, Etruscans, Latins, and Sabines, vied for control of the fertile plains and river crossings. In these early days, Rome was just one of many small city-states, each struggling for survival in a landscape marked by constant conflict and shifting alliances. The future of Rome was anything but certain. The Romans, however, were quick learners. They observed their enemies closely, adopting new tactics, weapons, and even religious practices. Every defeat became a lesson, every victory a stepping stone toward something greater. In 509 BC, the Romans overthrew their kings and founded the Republic. Power shifted to elected consuls and a senate, creating a unique system of checks and balances. This new government was designed not just to govern, but to expand, uniting the city's people with a shared sense of purpose. Rome's rise was anything but easy. Decades of warfare, setbacks, and rebuilding tested the city's resilience. But with each challenge, the Romans adapted, building roads, fortifications, and alliances that would serve them for centuries. One of Rome's greatest strengths was its ability to turn former enemies into allies. By granting citizenship and sharing the benefits of Roman law, they built loyalty and created a network of support that stretched far beyond the city's walls. This powerful blend of military might and political inclusion fueled Rome's relentless expansion. The legions marched ever outward, and the promise of Roman citizenship inspired loyalty among conquered peoples. By the 1st century BC, Rome's reach extended from the Atlantic shores of Spain to the deserts of Syria. The city had become the heart of a vast and diverse empire. But this incredible success brought new challenges, straining the old republican system to its breaking point. Wealth poured in from every corner of the empire, but so did inequality. The gap between rich and poor widened, and ambitious generals like Julius Caesar began to challenge the authority of the Senate. Political rivalries erupted into civil war, threatening to tear Rome apart. In the end, the Republic fell, and Augustus emerged as Rome's first emperor. His rule ushered in the Pax Romana, a golden age of peace, stability, and prosperity that would define the Roman Empire for generations to come. Rome's expansion was powered by its disciplined professional army, the legions. These soldiers were the backbone of Roman might, transforming a small city-state into a vast empire that spanned continents. The legions were not just a fighting force, they were a symbol of Roman order and determination. Legionaries trained relentlessly, marched long distances, and built camps every night, doubling as engineers and builders. Their daily routines were grueling, designed to forge discipline and unity. Every soldier learned to construct fortified camps, ensuring safety and readiness wherever they went. This constant training made them adaptable and prepared for any challenge. Their standardized equipment, armor, shields, swords, and spears, was both practical and deadly. Each piece was crafted for efficiency, allowing soldiers to fight as a single, cohesive unit. The iconic gladius and pilum gave them an edge in close and ranged combat, while their armor provided vital protection. Roman tactics combined missile attacks with tight infantry formations, overwhelming less organized foes. The famous testudo, or tortoise formation, shielded soldiers from arrows and projectiles, while coordinated charges broke enemy lines. Their ability to adapt tactics to different enemies made them nearly unbeatable. The army's genius lay in its organization: legions, cohorts, centuries, and squads, all adaptable to any battlefield. Clear chains of command and experienced officers ensured discipline and swift decision-making. This structure allowed Rome to deploy its forces efficiently, responding to threats across its vast territories. Service in the army offered social mobility. Auxiliary soldiers could earn citizenship. Men from across the empire joined the legions, bringing diverse skills and backgrounds. This inclusivity strengthened the army and helped bind conquered peoples to Rome. Veterans settled in new colonies, spreading Roman culture and loyalty. These settlements became outposts of Roman civilization, where former soldiers built new lives and passed on Roman traditions to future generations. The legions weren't just conquerors, they were agents of Romanization, building and populating the empire. They constructed roads, bridges, and cities, connecting distant provinces and fostering trade and communication. Their presence helped integrate diverse regions into a unified Roman world. Through discipline and innovation, Rome's military machine shaped the ancient world. Their strategies and technologies influenced armies for centuries, setting standards for organization and effectiveness. The army's legacy endures in the infrastructure and culture it left behind. Roads, aqueducts, and cities still stand as monuments to their skill, reminding us of the enduring power of Rome's unstoppable military machine. At its height, Rome was a city of over 1 million. Grand, chaotic, and unequal. Its skyline boasted marvels like the Colosseum and Pantheon, while the Forum buzzed with politics and commerce. Aqueducts and sewers brought water and sanitation, making urban life possible on a massive scale. The elite lived in lavish homes, enjoying art, feasts, and leisure. Most Romans, however, crowded into rickety apartments, facing daily struggles and danger. The city's infrastructure was a triumph, but stark inequality defined daily life. For the poor, survival was a constant challenge amid the city's grandeur. Rome was a world of luxury and hardship side by side. Ordinary Romans rose with the sun, eating simple meals of bread, cheese, and olives. Bread was the staple, meat was rare for most. To keep the masses content, emperors provided bread and circuses, free grain, and spectacular entertainment. The grain dole fed hundreds of thousands, while gladiator games and chariot races thrilled the crowds. These spectacles distracted people from hardship and reinforced the emperor's power. The city's poor lived for these moments of excitement and escape. Bread and circuses became tools of control, binding the people to Rome's rulers. For most, daily life was a struggle, punctuated by the drama of public games. Rome's true genius was engineering. Roads, aqueducts, and concrete transformed the empire. Over 50,000 miles of roads connected distant provinces, enabling trade, communication, and military movement. Roman concrete allowed for arches, domes, and vast public buildings like the Colosseum and Pantheon. Aqueducts delivered fresh water, supporting urban life and public health. These feats symbolized Rome's power to shape nature and society. Roman innovations in law, language, and architecture still influence us today. The empire's physical and intellectual foundations endure in our cities, languages, and institutions. Rome's legacy is all around us, built into the world we know. By the 3rd century AD, Rome's power was crumbling from within. Political chaos reigned. Emperors rose and fell in rapid succession, often by violence. Civil wars drained resources and left borders exposed. Barbarian tribes pressed in, while the Persians threatened from the east. The army grew costly, and the government debased currency, causing rampant inflation. Trade faltered, the economy shrank, and hardship spread. Political instability, endless wars, and economic crisis fed each other in a vicious cycle. The empire became too vast and complex for old systems to manage. Reforms like splitting the empire into east and west were desperate attempts to regain control. These measures slowed the decline but could not stop it. Rome's foundations were cracking under their own weight. Diocletian's division of the empire marked the beginning of the end for the West. The Eastern Empire thrived, but the West grew weaker, facing invasions and economic decline. Barbarian migrations and mercenary armies eroded Roman control. Rome was sacked twice in the 5th century, shocking the world. Provinces slipped away, and the Western government lost its grip. In 476 AD, the last Western emperor was deposed. No dramatic battle, just a quiet end. The Western Empire faded, replaced by new kingdoms. Rome's fall was a slow unraveling, not a single catastrophe. Rome's story is a lesson in ambition, innovation, and the dangers of overreach. Its rise shows the power of organization, infrastructure, and shared identity. Its fall warns of political instability, inequality, and the limits of expansion. Rome's influence lives on in our laws, languages, and cities. The challenges it faced, diversity, economy, security, are still relevant today. History is complex, not just rise and fall, but transformation and adaptation. Rome's legacy is in the questions it raises about power, society, and change. The purple dye, the legion, the engineer, all are threads in our own story. Exploring Rome is a journey of self-discovery and curiosity. The echoes of Rome remain, if we choose to listen.